Over this playlist, I'm describing what qualitative description is. One of the parts of my definition says that these types of projects aim to describe aspects of our social world. In this video, I'm going to describe what I mean by aspects of our social world, and what does it say about the status of the phenomena that we're trying to describe.
Our world is made up of many things, from sunsets to atoms, jokes we find funny, our political institutions, people's feelings, etc. Academics commonly divide the study of our social world, aspects of reality that arise from humans having consciousness, and the natural world, aspects of reality that are presumably not dependent on human existence. Qualitative research, and qualitative description more specifically, are concerned with studying our social world. Qualitative description projects do not aim to describe our whole social world, or even usually whole societies. Rather, they study only specific aspects or part of the social world, often within clearly defined or localized context. For example, I worked on a qualitative description project that focused on describing the processes young adults with diabetes use to access care in one Canadian province. This project focused on describing one aspect of our social world, processes used in several healthcare institutions, in a set context at a certain time in one Canadian province. Other aspects of our social world you may want to describe include other processes, situations, institutions, events, people's opinions, participants' accounts, barriers and opportunity for policy or program change, etc. Because all aspects of our social world arrive from people, they are contingent in that they do not have to be the way they are. These aspects can vary by country or institution. They can also change at any point, so there should always be a temporal reference to any description. With that said, once parts of our social world have been established, these aspects exist and can be described. To take a simple example, the process to renew your driver's license in the jurisdiction in which you live does not need to be the way it is likely different from the process in other jurisdictions, and the process could change at any point. But this aspect of our social world can be described as existing in a time and context. In fact, it would be strange to claim that researchers cannot describe aspects of our social world, like how to get a driver's license, if they choose to do so. Our social world arises because there are individual beings with sufficient levels of consciousness. Yet, as an individual, our conscious experience is only known to us. I cannot know or experience directly what you are feeling. This condition seems to cause a puzzle for researchers. If our world arises from individual conscious beings, and an individual's consciousness is only knowable to them, how can we have any knowledge of our social world that is not based on accessing the experience of individuals? Are we forced to figure out other people's subjective experiences, which we cannot directly access, in order to know our social world? This question of how do we know for sure that all the world is not just in our heads has troubled philosophers for hundreds of years. While intellectually interesting, this type of solipsism is not a suitable starting point for studying aspects of the social world. In committing to and being involved in the study of the social world, you need to get beyond solipsism and accept that other people exist and act in the world. How people feel, perceive, and the meaning they attribute to things are important parts of our social world. As a methodological approach, qualitative description does not delve into the psychological or try to determine the real subjective experiences of individual people. There are other methodological approaches that aim to uncover these more personal perspectives, for example, phenomenology. So what does qualitative description focus on? The philosopher John Searle points out that there's also important parts of our social world that are based on the shared interactions of people. For example, processes to get a license renewed, or orchestras, baseball teams, or political parties. Knowing these aspects of our social world is not dependent on the consciousness of another individual. We're also not trapped in a solitary world, totally shut off from other conscious beings. There are also a wide range of items and objects that ultimately originate from a person or people's actions and behaviors. A good deal of qualitative research is based on the view that, although we cannot directly access other people's consciousness, by studying the objects and items created by people, we can learn some aspects about how they know, understand, and live in the world. As I'll explain in the next video, qualitative description stays close to these objects in its analysis. In this video, I said that aspects of our social world exist because of people. Although they are contingent and variable, once established, these states of affairs can be described. In the next two videos, I'm going to draw on these elements to explain the next part of our definition of qualitative description, statement close analysis. Thanks for watching.